Hello dear viewers. Today's story is about CEO Hung, a determined man who chooses to love lytieuca, a woman with a past, 6 months pregnant with her ex-husband's child and mother to little Han, who is 2 years old. Despite fierce opposition from his parents worried about the family's reputation, Hung is determined to stand by her, care for her, and protect both children. His sincere love and persistence overcome all barriers, proving that true love knows no past or hardships. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any exciting videos. Thank you for being with us. The news that Hung was in love with a divorced woman, who was 6 months pregnant with her ex-husband's child and had a 2-year-old daughter, struck like lightning in the middle of his family's serene mansion. His mother, a woman who valued reputation and social standing above all else, was in utter disbelief. That very night, she summoned him home, her voice sharp and cutting, tense enough that even the house staff fell silent as Hung stepped through the door. "Tell me again, who is she?" "A woman who's already been divorced, who's carrying another man's child, and even has a toddler." "You actually think you can bring someone like that into this family?" Her words weren't just angry, they were full of bitter disappointment. Each sentence cut like a knife, slicing into the already strained bond between generations. But Hung stood silently, his gaze calm yet resolute. He didn't argue, didn't lower his head, didn't try to explain. His silence only fueled the fire. His father, a man who had lived his entire life by the book, guarding the family's name and reputation, slammed a newspaper onto the table. The headline on the front page screamed, "CEO Hung takes pregnant girlfriend to checkup, identity of the woman stirs controversy." The photo captured a quiet, tender moment, Hung gently supporting lytieuca's swollen belly, while little Han, the 2-year-old girl, held his hand with innocent trust. It was a moment of peace, but under the harsh spotlight of public scrutiny, it became a scandal. The internet buzzed with judgment. Investors whispered. Business partners hesitated. "Do you even realize what you're doing?" His father's voice was low but heavy, like stone. "Every move you make is no longer just about you. You are the heir to an entire corporation, the face of this family. You really think love is worth risking all of that? Reputation, legacy, the future?" His words were all true, painfully true. But they did nothing to shake Hung's resolve. He had thought this through. He understood lytieuca's situation better than anyone, and he knew she didn't deserve to be hurt again. She didn't deserve to be judged or treated like a burden, not by the world, and definitely not by the man who claimed to love her. Hung looked at his parents. He said nothing. But in his silence, the message was clear. He wasn't letting go, even if it meant standing alone. Outside, the rain had begun to fall. Cold, soft droplets, just like the words exchanged in that room, quiet, but cutting deep. His mother turned away, too furious to speak. His father remained seated, fingers clenched tightly around a now cold cup of tea. In that moment, Hung knew he had just stepped into the most difficult battle of his life, a battle between love and blood, between heart and duty. Despite the fierce opposition from his parents, Hung never wavered. His heart stood firm. The love he felt for lytieuca wasn't born from pity or a fleeting impulse. It had quietly grown, day by day, from the moments they shared, from the way she lived, endured, and loved. He loved the way she smiled gently at little Han, loved the strength in her eyes every time she faced life alone. He loved her silence when the world turned cruel, how she never defended herself, never complained, just quietly endured. The harshness of life had made her quiet, but that only made him want to protect her more. To him, the baby in her womb wasn't a burden. It was a part of her, a new life growing from the scars of her past. He had once asked himself, "Do I have the strength to love a woman pregnant with another man's child?" But every time she leaned her tired body against his shoulder, every time Han looked up and called out, "Uncle Hung," in her soft little voice, he already had his answer. He didn't need a perfect love, he needed a true one. And that woman, with all her wounds, all her baggage, and all her past, was the one who made him want to build a future. Many nights, Hung sat quietly in the small apartment Tieu was renting. The sound of the baby's heartbeat echoing from the ultrasound machine was something he could never forget. It wasn't his child by blood, but something about that tiny rhythm made his heart tremble, like he'd been waiting for it all along. One night, when she was especially vulnerable, she asked him, "Are you sure you won't regret this? I'm not the kind of woman most men would choose to love. I have nothing, just a past, and 2 children I need to protect." He didn't answer with words, but with a kiss on her forehead, gentle, yet certain. "You have my heart. That's enough." He knew there would be hardships. People would talk. There would be moments of exhaustion and doubt. But the one thing he could never bear to lose was the woman who was trying, every single day, to love him with everything she had left. Tieu never asked for anything. All she wanted was peace. But it was that quiet humility that made him want to give her more than she ever dared to dream. Loving someone like lytuca wasn't easy. But that love had already changed him, made him more patient, stronger, more willing to sacrifice. For Hung, loving her wasn't a choice anymore. It was destiny. As time passed, the pressure from Hung's family grew heavier by the day. He was no longer welcome at family dinners. His mother looked at him with disappointment, and his father responded with nothing more than cold, silent nods. The once warm home had become suffocating, a prison built from traditions and expectations that he used to uphold with pride. But every time Hung returned to the small apartment where lytuca lived with little Han, the weight on his shoulders seemed to lift. There were no harsh words there, no judging glances, no disappointed sighs lamenting, "What a waste of potential." Instead, there was a woman quietly preparing dinner, a little girl running to hug him the moment he walked through the door, and a tiny heartbeat growing inside the woman he loved. One night, Tieu woke up from a nightmare, tears soaking her pillow. She had dreamed of giving birth alone, prematurely, in a cold hospital room with no one beside her. Through her sobs, she whispered, "I'm scared, scared that when the time comes, I'll have no one to hold on to." Hung wrapped his arms around her, holding her tight enough to chase the fear away. "I'm here," he whispered. "Even if the whole world turns its back on you, I won't." It was in that moment that he knew he couldn't wait any longer. The next morning, Hung returned to his family home. For the first time in weeks, he asked to speak openly with his parents. The living room was unnaturally quiet. Morning sunlight poured through the wide glass windows, casting long shadows on the cold white walls. His father sat with a cup of tea in hand, calm and unreadable. His mother stood by the window, not looking at him, but clearly listening. "I've made up my mind," Hung began, his voice steady. "And I'm not here to ask for permission." Silence filled the room like thick fog. His mother finally turned, her eyes full of hurt. "So you're going to throw away everything we've built for you?" she asked, voice strained. Hung didn't flinch. "I'm not throwing anything away. But I can't live a life where I don't even recognize myself anymore." His father set the teacup down, eyes fixed on his son. "You're willing to give up your position, your reputation, your legacy, for her?" "She's not just someone," Hung replied. "She's the woman I love. And I won't let her go through childbirth alone. I won't let her child, and the one growing inside her, grow up without the love they deserve from the man who chose them." His mother began to cry. It was the first time Hung saw her not as the iron-willed matriarch, but as a mother heartbroken by a path she couldn't understand. "You've chosen the hardest road," his father said quietly. "Because I love someone who isn't easy to love," Hung answered. Then he stood, bowed slightly. "If you can't accept it, I'll take full responsibility for that choice. I'm not asking for your blessing, only for your respect." No one stopped him as he walked away. But as the door closed behind him, Hung felt something lift from his chest, the doubt, the guilt, the hesitation. For the first time, he was truly living for his own heart. That same day, he returned to the apartment, knelt before lytuca, and offered her a simple ring, nothing extravagant, but glowing with sincerity in the quiet emotion of the moment. "Be my wife," he said softly. "You, Han, and the baby, from this day on, you're my family."